me for my voice, but I have never seen anything like it.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. If you are tuning in for the first time, thanks for tuning in. You can find our content everywhere, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there for you, including YouTube, where you guys have left me some pretty fun comments that I'm going to try to respond to. We are talking about The Girl on the Third Floor today with my buddy Isaac. We're going to talk about the winners, the losers, the best scenes, the worst scenes, and CM Punk's performance in this movie, which is a weird sentence to say. A lot of content on the podcast page, but I want you to stick around for the best day of the week. It's Film Friday. Here's Isaac. All right, on the phone line right now, we have my buddy Isaac talking about The Girl on the Third Floor. This is a horror movie. This is a movie that when you sent it to me, Isaac, when you requested can I come on, can we talk about this movie, I was interested because anytime Netflix puts out any horror-type movie, there's always a lot of questions that I have at the end of it. And this is another one. This fits right into with the rest of the Netflix movies.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And for me to even think about recommending this to you to begin with, I feel like it has to say a lot. Because me personally, I love movies, but I do not love horror movies. They literally do freak me out. I am that dude in the theater that's hiding behind his fingers and watching that way. But with this movie, like I said, about the questions, this one did leave me pondering a lot. Not because it was so out there. It was just I didn't understand what was going on the whole time.
All right.
You know?
For the listeners at home that haven't seen the movie, do you want to give a quick summary or you want me to break it down for them?
No, man, it's your podcast. You do the breakdown. And
All right.
I'll throw in a little things here and there if need be.
All right, so the movie centers around Don Couch, who is a failing husband, which is always a really weird way to set up a movie review. It's a failing husband. He decides to go, and his wife bought this house in the suburbs of Chicago. They're going to go move out there. His wife is pregnant. She has some job in finances, I guess. They're going to move out there, but before they can move in, he has to renovate the house. So he's starting to renovate the house, and the house, to quote the movie review, the official movie review on Rotten Tomatoes, is as Don tears the house apart, it begins to tear him apart as well, revealing the rot behind the drywall, which is I guess is fine. It's just really topsy-turvy. Let me say this, Isaac. The first thing that left me really scratching my head, this is the first big question mark I think we can tackle in this podcast. How long into this movie did it take you to realize that it was CM Punk who was playing the husband?
I am so glad you asked. Because for me, that was one of my first talking points. I was like, first off, let's get the elephant out the room. CM Punk, main actor right there. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, this dude looks familiar. I felt like I've seen him somewhere. I couldn't put my finger on it. So finally, probably about 20 minutes, and I had to Google it because I know I saw him somewhere. It's CM Punk. Who would have thought? Not me. But then, he just had that look about him, you know?
Yeah, no, it's just, I had a lot of questions. I'm watching this movie. I'm thinking to myself, okay, is this guy he could be anywhere between his mid-30s and early 50s. It was just, he had a weird way about him. The tattoos just didn't make a ton of sense. And, look, you do the WWE, you're not going to be the next Rock. Let's just be real. Dwayne Johnson's a once-in-a-lifetime character. So guys like CM Punk have to figure out where they fit into the media entertainment world after movies or after WWE. And I guess movies is where he wanted to go. But the character that they had him playing just does not match up with anything. The whole reason that he lost his job, and this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, but the whole reason he lost his job was that he was bank fraud, that he was stealing people's retirement funds, which, look, you got a guy in CM Punk, very cut, very chiseled, a lot of tattoos, very edgy, very pop rocky. Why is the thing that makes him go to the suburbs fraud? Come on, that doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, because when I first saw him, and the way that they're kind of building it up, too, I felt like, because another spoiler for people listening is when they had that this weird, like, I guess, federal agent, or like, I don't know who he was, but I'm breaking it down for him. It's like, hey, don't mess this up again. It made it seem like it was something more, at least to me, something more like criminal than fraud. I thought he had done something like, I don't know, like a weird bank heist, but somehow got off with it or something. Like, he was like some sort of leader, some weird like crime, like mob.
I thought he was just peddling drugs. Like, I just was like, oh, this is another drug dealer. Okay, that makes a ton of sense. I don't know how he had a wife in the financial industry. Doesn't make a ton of sense that his wife is working for Goldman Sachs, but whatever, right? Like, okay.
Right, exactly.
So I guess that leads into question, another big question mark I had. Why did nobody renovate this house since the 1900s? Like, they're kind of selling the story as like, oh, it's 2019, he's renovating the house, but everything about this house reminds you of like early 20th century stuff. Did nobody in Chicago, look, Chicago's prime real estate, people are moving in there every day. Nobody thought to, let me buy this estate and renovate it? Like, what? Also, who's his real estate agent?
Because even with the bartender in there, who was like very just an odd character, but honestly one of my favorite ones too, just because like he was just so out of pocket. He even says like, I don't know, like he implied that other people had lived there before him, and like so with that implication, you would think they would have renovated the house. You know, it just to me a lot of this stuff like that. This movie had a lot of plot holes in it, but at the same time though, it kept you invested. You know?
And that's what's funny about this, Isaac, is because if you didn't recommend this movie to me, I don't think I would click on it on Netflix. I'll be completely honest with you. I think I keep it moving. But my issue is like with every horror movie is that you have to just suspend disbelief until the end. You have to just pretend that all of this makes sense until the very end of the movie. Let me ask you another question. So, when you found out that it was a former whorehouse, what was that the thing that was like, oh, okay, this movie is very unlike any movie I'm seeing?
No, like, for me, with most movies, like even horror movies, you, for the most part, can sense the direction it's going in. You know, you can kind of pick up on the clues that it's kind of laying out throughout the movie. But for me, just like once it says like it was like a form of brothel, and I was like, to me, that's like, he didn't really like, oh, okay, now I get this movie. Now I understand where it's going. It was just like, okay, now where does this make sense? Because like I said, throughout most of this movie, I didn't understand what was happening. I was trying to figure out the next step and see what was happening. So once it said like it was a brothel, I was like, okay, we're going to go from here now. Because I'm still confused. I still need to understand what's happening. But I guess not to spoil it so much for your listeners, once you kind of delve more into what happened in the brothel, that's when I kind of started like everything obviously would come full circle there, you know?
Things start clicking.
That's when I kind of got it.
So, all right, let's talk about the attractive young female who seduces him. When you saw her the first time, when he's just like on his back porch and she's playing with his dog in the backyard, what was, first off, my first question is, how the hell did you get in my backyard? Second question was, is there any chance that he doesn't sleep with her at that point? Like, was it just a guarantee, like, yeah, this is going to happen?
No, yeah. From the second, like, they kind of, like, even built this dude up. Because remember earlier on in the film, like, when he's first talking to his wife, I believe, on the phone, she was already kind of questioning, like, if he's even going to do it. You know, kind of like just grilling him almost, I feel like. And then she sees, like, the beer bottle in the back, kind of already implying, and well, actually, first off, she sees the beer bottle in the back, and he's, like, blowing it off like it was already there. It was already there. Kind of already implies to me that he's a liar. He lies to his wife, you know? He's, like, putting on a front for her, but, like, really he probably doesn't see much, like, he's not following through as much as he should be.
Yeah.
So, like, once, like, she popped up in the backyard, I was like, oh, there's, like, no chance in my mind, especially when she's already inside the house. I was like, no, that was like, easy to tell, like what was going to happen from the beginning. And then for me, what I thought it did with this character, and I feel like this speaks a lot about his character too, is that his character, you could tell, like, because you said he was like a failing husband, right? Is that what you said according to the review?
According to the synopsis, it's a failing husband. Yeah.
So on top of being a failing husband, I feel like this movie really played on like this very stereotypical husband as well. the one who doesn't need to read instructions. He just knows how it goes. And like, because at the end of like that scene with the girl, he's like, I earned that. I did that. After all I'm doing, this is what I earned. You know, like a man, like just, you know, it's like they really try to do very stereotypical, like, was he macho man? He gets what he wants, does what he does, and that's it. You know.
Yeah,
And,
I buy that. Yeah.
And to contrast that to The House, to go along with the review, I had read a theory too that said like The House is judging him, you know, and that was one of the first decisions he's made that The House would start to judge him on. So,
I guess the whole like, oh, The House is the judger and all that type of stuff. I don't know, like, what I buy with that. But let's go back to the probation officer, and I don't want to go too far back, but I do want to get this point out here for you, Isaac.
Okay.
I said that when he showed up and we already had the bottle in the back, I was thinking, oh, this is a violent criminal, or oh, this is a guy that's like, you know, peddling heroin or something like that. So when it comes out that it's bank fraud, I'm like, why is this woman on his back about drinking? Why is the probation officer acting like this is some sort of like hardened criminal? No, this is a white collar crime. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What? Why do you even have a probation officer? What's the probation officer going to do? Hey, are you, you know, cutting stocks, or are you like insider trading? Like, come on, bro. Like, this probation officer has the easiest job in the world. He needs not to act like, oh, this is a guy that's going to go get back in gang violence. No, this is a guy that you just need to make sure he doesn't get the bank codes.
No, exactly. And I really just felt like the whole dialogue right there it was nothing more than just filler and just like feeding the audience like, hey, this guy was a bad guy. This is why he's here. You get it? You got it? Now we're going to move on to everything else. I feel like a lot of the movie was that. It was just like, obviously when you watch a movie, you need to get information as the audience. You need to know what's happening. But like, there's better and more clever ways to do that than just to have like this literally like, it was like just shoved in our face. Like, hey, he was a bad guy. Do you understand it? And it kept on like playing on to it to the point where it just got kind of like cringy, you know? And the whole PO was very cringy.
100%. Now, okay, this is the point in the podcast, listeners, where we're going to start getting into a little bit of spoilers. We're going to start talking a little bit deeper in the podcast about the movie. So if you haven't seen Girl on the Third Floor, if you're interested in that movie, if you're going to see it soon, this would be the time to jump out. All right, Isaac, let's get into it. Look.
All right.
At what point did you know that his best friend was going to die? Because I can tell you exactly when I knew that his best friend wasn't going to survive that house.
Oh, when he went, like, as soon as he stepped foot next to the downstairs basement and the lights weren't going to turn on, that's when I knew. And I was like, in what horror movie does it ever end well for someone to go down into a basement where, like, obviously do not work? You know? Name me one movie where that actually ends up well.
None. There are none. I'll go even further, Isaac. When's the last time a black man has walked into a horror movie and survived?
They're always sad to say, you know, but it's always the first one to go. You know, it's always like it's very cliche. It's a cliche thing that I guess still lives up even if in 2019.
We're going to talk about it in the end when we talk about winners and losers of this movie, but I'm going to give you a hint that he is one of the losers of this movie for me. All right, let's get into the house itself. All right, so the nun or whoever, the preacher who's working across the street at the church, I didn't really get her role in this movie. Didn't really understand where she was coming from. Doesn't make a ton of sense, I guess, in retrospect, that she doesn't tell people, hey, by the way, this house is haunted. What did you think of that character?
I really didn't know what to think about this character because I'm not gonna say I mentioned a few minutes ago about the whole house was like a judge type thing because she even said towards the ending, I'll watch his house and his house watches mine. I don't understand how far that mentality goes. Like, okay, that house watches you, but what does that really do for you? You know, like, how does that house protect her? And how does she really protect that house? Because if you think about it, she's not stopping people from going inside that house and, like, renovating it, tearing down the walls, doing all these different things. There's, like, no immediate mediating going on between any of the stuff. So I understand like her connection really. Besides, she's just an overwatcher.
Yeah,
and even then, I don't know what her role is above overwatcher.
It made little to no sense to me. The last thing I want to get into is these marbles that were rolling around the house. Look, the marble thing, it was a cool little deal at first. I did not understand why these marbles continued to roll around. I thought that they really were trying to force the whole, oh, it's a little girl and she died in a train track type of deal because the owner of the whorehouse was a jerk, killed her. These marble, like, look, let's be real. You could have just stuck on the prostitute who seduced CM Punk at the beginning, focus on her, make her the villain, and you don't need the monster creature. I didn't get it. It didn't make a ton of sense to me.
No, I feel like they should have done one or the other. Something like either have this monster creature ghost like harass and kill CM Punk, or go with a girl and have the girl kind of be like the representation of all the stuff that's happened, or just like she was that girl. So like I understand the book before the torture and after torture goes.
Was it the before and after? Thing. Was that what that was? The before and after?
Yeah, that's the way I saw it. Like that girl, the one that seduced CM Punk, it made it seem like she was the girl that got tortured, and the girl, the ghost one, scary creature was the tortured version. That's the way I saw it as. Because for me, it makes no other sense than that. Because she even said it is like when he killed me, and he just like left me there in train tracks. You know.
See, what I thought that was a different whore or a different prostitute who was also dead in the house. I thought those were two dead, and one of them was like the little girl who was playing marbles like, at the beginning or whatever, like playing marbles, and then the other one was like an actual like prostitute. So I didn't that's really where I guess my confusion was it was like, okay, there are two people that are dead here. Are there one person that's dead here? It just didn't. There's not a lot of stuff that made sense to me in that regard.
Oh, I get you. I get what you're saying. But that's what I interpret. I may have misinterpreted that part, maybe because, like I said, there's a lot going on in this movie. As I was watching it, even as I was rewatching it, I was trying to figure out what was happening. So I was Googling as I was watching it, so because I just needed to figure out what was happening. So I may have missed that scene where they probably explained that little girl, but even then, or not even a little girl, that one creature thing, I was lost about it too. I also want to speak too real quick about when that creature was crawling out the wall, how they did an impeccable shot of making the wall look like it was a wall. Because like they really made that wall look elastic, you know.
I will give that movie this. I'll give that
great shot.
I'll give it this. Because a lot of horror movies, it's either you have a really good script and a really good story and the production value is really low, or the production value is really high and the script kind of sucks. That is what this movie was, I thought. The production of this movie was very good. There was a lot of times that I actually was scared. There's a lot of times that I actually was like disgusted by the way that they did things. I give them a lot of credit in that. But again, the storyline is the thing that stunk and the thing that really held this movie back. Now, Isaac, I got a question for you. So, when I'm watching movies, when I'm talking about movies, the thing that really makes me judge a movie is the rewatchability and the times that I check my phone. Those are the two really big things that I look at when I rewatch or when I think about a movie. How many times do I want to check my phone, and would I want to rewatch this movie? So, I'll start with the phone deal. How many times did you want to check your phone? How many times did you have to look on your phone to search something up or think about something while watching this movie?
I would say, honestly, because I had to rewatch movies. It's been a little bit since I first watched it and first recommended it to you. When I first watched it, the only time I really wanted to look at my phone was when I was trying to figure out where I see CM Punk, when I see the main actor and find out CM Punk. But throughout the rest of the movie, it's like I said, it kept me interested because I didn't know what was happening. There was a lot of like confusion for me, and for me, when a movie makes me confused, it either makes me want to do one or two things: either keep watching so I can like not be confused anymore, or two, just tune out because if it's getting me confused, it's not telling the story right. With this one, it left me confused in a way where I wanted to keep watching and figure it out. Was there a big payoff for that? Honestly, in my opinion, no. But it left me wanting to watch the whole thing through just so I could get like some sort of ounce of closure.
All right, let's move on to the rewatchability. What was your favorite scene?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go first. My favorite scene from this movie was watching his friend try to get back up those stairs with the caved head. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what about that scene I really enjoyed. Maybe it's because CM Punk isn't in it at all. But that was that was the apex of the movie for me. That was a scene that when I recommend it to a friend, that's going to be the trailer clip. That's going to be the clip that I'll send them and say, you need to check this movie out.
I would say for sure I think my favorite scene in the movie is when the wife came in and like the wife came to the house and there was like this weird party going on. And purely because I felt, not because like really what was said, just the way it was moving throughout the house. The way it took us through from the bottom floor all the way up into the attic. And kind of like revealed like that, the marbles, like I think that's when that was revealed.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. So I think the way they did that kind of like took the viewers to back in time to see what the house was like in its heyday. I think that whole scene was actually really good. And like even how they brought it into when the wife was in the house and Don's crawling out the closet and like he like freaks out, starts cutting his face open, and then it's the girl again, or her name is Sarah. When the girl pops out, like I thought that whole scene was really well done. I thought that was really great. Up until like the weird monster starts crawling out the wall that isn't actually a wall anymore. That's when they kind of lost me again. But
really, I like that. I was gonna say I picked it back up with the monster where the wife, I guess, wins the house from the ghosts, from the ghouls. I thought that was a really good scene. All right, let's move on to winners and losers. Isaac, I'll let you go first. Who's your first winner of this movie?
Well, I think the first winner is very obvious. It's the wife. You know, she lost her cheating husband. You know, she still gets to renovate the house. Looks pretty nice. I guess in her eyes too, she also won the house from the ghost. You know, so she's living a pretty good life. She got some kids there. For her, she feels pretty safe. Cool. The biggest loser, in my opinion, it's the dog. You know,
okay.
If the listeners are still here, I hate to say it, but the dog died. The dog died. You know, it's hard to see. The dog was doing his thing, being the dog, and he didn't have the way he died too was so vicious. You know,
it didn't make sense.
Oh.
That was like, it was really, I thought that was unnecessary killing. Like with the friend dying, okay, I get it. Like, you know, you can't have any witnesses, whatever. But like the dog, really, that's how the trilogy of John Wick movies started. Like the death of a dog.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, let me give you my biggest winner. I agree with you. It is the wife. I thought she had the strongest acting performance as well in this movie for having to do.
The dog had a stronger acting performance
than the wife.
CM Punk.
Yes.
No, than CM Punk.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I was gonna give the wife credit. I was gonna say that the wife in this movie, I think it was played by Elsa Dowling. So correct me if I'm wrong here. You can tweet at me at Andrew_Zimmel. But I'm pretty sure that she was the wife in this movie. She did a really good job, I thought, for being, you know, not in any scenes for like 85% of the movie, having to do all of your acting over a phone when you're FaceTiming CM Punk. And that is my biggest loser, Isaac. CM Punk is the biggest loser to me in this movie. This entire movie was built around him. Like, he's the star power. He's the thing that I think that you're going to say, hey, CM Punk's in this movie. You should go check it out. And I thought that his acting in this movie was very bad. I don't know if it's the worst acting I've seen, but it's not the best. I will say that.
Oh no, his acting was not great at all. I mean, like I said, the dog was a better actor than CM Punk. You know, it was just like his acting was not good. I really feel like this movie could have been saved a little bit if they had a better actor, slightly better, because if we're being honest, in my opinion, I feel like most of the actors did a pretty okay job of this little movie they were in, you know, except CM Punk. He just you know, I just can't even put it into words.
Big disparity on Rotten Tomatoes, Isaac. The critics have given this movie 81%. What do you think the audience score is for Girl on the Third Floor on Rotten Tomatoes?
I hope it's not as high because I feel like it doesn't deserve.
I'm gonna give you. I'll give you one guess.
Praise more than 50. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say. I'm going to say most 55.
It is 26% is the audience score.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
No, I agree. All
right, Isaac.
And I think for me too, was one last comment.
Yeah.
There is, because I did my own research. I saw that some people even on some websites, they said this movie is actually pretty good to them. It's one of the best horror movies on Netflix right now. I disagree with that completely. But what I want to say, if anybody goes and watches, I would say it'd be cool to come up with your own theories about it, because I read a very interesting theory saying that the house was a judge, and it judges its occupants on who gets to stay there, who gets to not stay there by the decisions it presents to them. So, for instance, CM Punk is presented with his girl. Is he going to cheat on his wife or not? Obviously, he does, and then the different events unfold. I think that's if you look at it within that scope, I think that movie did a pretty good job. Because even the weird preacher lady from across the street, she even said it. We all have choices. I can't make someone do the right choice. He presented the choices, and they go from there. I think we look at it within that scope. It's not that bad of a movie.
All right, so let's talk about how the movie ends. Movie ends with CM Punk being the monster, ghoul, goblin, demon that is now possessing the house. How would you like it if your father was the demon that was possessing your home?
Well, I'll say this.
Kind of makes it tough to move.
I still don't know, but it would get pretty creepy as I'm getting older, and I'm starting to realize that CM Punk is my dad first off, and CM Punk is living in my walls. Can't say it would be great. Oh God!
I cannot imagine that they have a good relationship or a good marriage at this point, right? I think the wife and the husband they were going to get a divorce, so now it's pretty much your ex is living in the walls and they want to co-parent. I don't know, man. Kind of feels tough. Feels like you're going to renovate this house and then going to have to move. That is what I see happening for this family if they make a sequel.
No, yeah, and I hope this movie doesn't make a sequel. I feel like this is one of those movies that just needs to stay at one and done.
Thanks so much for coming on, Isaac.
Oh, thanks for having me. I hope I can do some more.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. You can tune into all of our content on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your content. We are there for you. It is a busy week on the podcast page. We had Alexander Haynes come on Wednesday/Thursday morning to talk to us about the coronavirus. And since that recording, a lot of games, a lot of leagues, a lot of events have been canceled. So, your place to get content for the next month, week, year, we're here for you on the Andrew Zimmel podcast page. So we are going to continue to do a daily podcast. That's going to happen every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. You can check out this podcast page for at least some content to get you through this trying time. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Please continue to wash your hands thoroughly, and I will talk to you guys on Monday.